Ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? Between Two Hats, LFG, Phil and Pat back at it again. Big Phil, what's going on, big man?
Well, I'm so stoked to be here again, brother. This is too much fun. Chatting with you earlier, just fired up for this, man. Let's get after it.
How good is it?
It's the highlight of my week. And that's not a sad thing because I have a great week. Like I have so many good things going, but I look forward to this so much. And, you're such a good partner and I really enjoy your energy. And I know you're fired up today. So yeah, let's get after it.
So, the reason why I'm fired up today is actually the theme of today's chat, which is relationships, right?
That's it, brother.
Relationships are the underlying asset behind everything that happens in this world. Yes or no?
100%. I was in a meeting today, in my work world, and we didn't talk about product. We didn't talk about things and the usual stuff that people get bogged down in. It was the people. It was the relationship and how key that is, top to bottom. And it's so refreshing when you talk to people that actually understand it. Because most companies or people you even deal with just get stuck in the minutia of the thing or the what or the why. It's like the people who we're doing it with matters the most.
So, let's take a real deep dive into the concept of relationships today.
I love it.
Let's look into that. So you mentioned that we on the front side of getting a deal done, people get stuck into the minutia of the product, the quality, and so forth. This may turn into a debate, subject to whether you and I agree or disagree.
Oh, this is great.
So where's the juice of getting a deal done? Is it the product? Is it the service? Is it the quality? Or is it the relationship? And is it a split? If so, what's the ratio?
Okay, so the answer to that is yes. I think it's all of it. But at the end of the day, and we've shared this before when you and I've talked maybe on the first podcast, people buy from people they like, right? So if we're talking about work, when you build a connection, which aka relationship with somebody, that's going to benefit you down the line. Now you have to show up and you have to perform. Your product has to be good. Your service has to be stellar. And without those things, I don't think you get a seat at that table. You don't get an opportunity for that
So
relationship.
basically, that's an element of sufficiency. It's a pre-requirement.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I think even like you and I see it when we're out at these events, and the different groups that spin off, and the folks that are a little more connected and a little more seasoned, kind of end up together. And I think it is a prerequisite to sit at that table or be in that room or be at that happy hour that you better know your stuff. But that just opens the door. Showing up and building an authentic relationship with people is the name of the game. And what I've found, and I think this is why you and I connect too, is we do it authentically. We do it transparently. It's not, well, I'm going to pretend to be your friend in a relationship so that, maybe I get your work. I lean into it as I like you. I met with someone today who I met several times over the last 2 years, probably a year and a half. Never once have asked for the business. Never even thought about, transitioning into that because I was just getting to know him and letting him know me and enjoying that connection and that partnership, friendship that was developing. And then today we had a great meeting that actually turned into real work talk. And, hopefully there's an opportunity to move forward where we support each other, but it's really about the people first. And you can't fake it. You and I have it because we actually enjoy it. We like the people of this business.
Okay. You just dropped a large number of bombs just there. That because what I like to do is when you comment, I like to take certain things away and then go into the weeds of each one of those
Bring
things,
it.
right?
It's wonderful.
So, you mentioned 2 years. So for 2 years, you've known this one person and you haven't mentioned business once.
I don't want to. Probably not. I think if I'm being completely honest, in all of the interactions, I don't think I ever put my hand out and said, "Hey, I'm Phillip Burton flooring guy." It was just we knew each other. Events, talking. How's your family? What's your story? This, you're here. Blah blah blah. Never once led with flooring guy. I'd love to do your work. And
I'm
till
asking you
today.
these questions. I'm asking you these questions so that our listeners can learn the ins and outs of relationship building and how we do that. I'm not saying that you and I are masters at it, but I'm gonna say that we're pretty good at it, right?
Yeah, I think it's okay to say we're experts in our field
Yeah,
at
that's
that.
true. That's
you
true. I
know?
just don't want to be that arrogant guy.
Right? Yeah,
So
but I
okay,
don't think that's arrogant. I don't mean to cut you off. I have a mentor in my life, very successful guy, real estate guy, and he taught me that a while ago. It's okay to say you're an expert if you've earned the right to say it. I'm not saying I'm better than anyone else, nor are you. I know how you lead. You're very humble, especially with your background and your experience. But it's okay to say to somebody, "I'm an expert at this." You and I are experts in the field of relationship building and connecting with people.
I respect that, and I wear what you just said with pride
Me too.
because
Yeah.
that's one of my strongest assets, right? But let's not try to
You're also
digress.
very handsome. Let's not, I mean, for the people watching,
I go to the barber twice a week. I try to get
there it
my
is.
my beard lined up.
It's
I'm
very
also
scalped.
in the process of growing my beard right now because of this podcast, so that we can be the two bearded guys with hats.
There
That's
it
another
is.
story. But let's go back. So 2 years, you've known this guy. You've had small talk within that period. There wasn't a moment where you elevator pitched him, but I guess business snuck itself into the conversation. My question to you is, why did you not pitch him earlier on? Why did you let it marinate for so long?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think, to folks out there that do what we do, I my style has always been, if you know who I am, I'm in the flooring business, right? I'm pretty noticeable. I put myself out there. I do a lot of speaking or moderating panels, so it's very well known what industry I'm in. So when I'm interacting with you at a show or in an environment, a happy hour, I don't think I need to talk about what I do. I want to talk about who you are and learn about you as a person and let you know about my family and the things that actually interest me on that side. So I very rarely will drop that, I'm here as a flooring guy. Dinners, things of that nature. I can go several interactions or meetings without ever bringing up flooring. Now, if somebody asks, of course, I'm going to say, well, yeah, we're this, that, and the other. We're in 69 locations, 26 states, blah, 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 all the stuff that matters. But very rarely, unless I'm prompt, that's going to be the topic of conversation. And you and I talked earlier today about some stuff we're planning for the leadership event in April. I don't want to know what you do. I want to know who you are. And I also want you to know who I am. And this kind of begs the conversation that we had earlier too, is being open and honest about what we believe and who we are is the only way for people to really understand if they connect. And sometimes that comes with a little penalty, right? If we're a little too honest, whether it's supporting Trump, whether it's not supporting Trump, whether it's religion, whatever.
Subject to
Uh,
personal bias and perspective, yes.
Yeah, and I'm the first person to tell you I will share my thoughts and feelings with you if you want me to, but in no way am I trying to convince you that I'm right. I just want to let you know where I stand potentially because there's a really good opportunity that you might open my eyes to something that I'm missing and help me understand it from your perspective. You're going to educate me.
I think we just come across our first disagreement. How cool is
Uh-oh.
this? So
Accurate.
I disagree with that big time.
Okay.
Let me tell you why. And this is where I'd love for you to coach me to
Sure.
see who's going to have more of a logical approach, I guess. I am on the contrary. I am like, why would I want to voluntarily share my opinions and thoughts on specific things? That's where I stand. That's my perspective on a certain thing.
Right.
That could cause a potential conflict. Whatever the opposing perspective is, I know for a fact that I'm an easy personality. I don't know that this new personality is easy or difficult. Yes, you could read the room, but if the opportunity presents itself and that person has shared their opinion, if you agree with it, 100%, there's a rapport moment. But if they haven't shared anything, what's the upside in sharing yours?
Yeah. I mean, well said, by the way. And you're not wrong. That I think that's a perspective or a tack that most people take, right? Because I don't want to overclassify it. It's not like Switzerland. You're not just saying I'm down the middle no matter what. I'm never going to express my opinion.
Yeah.
I think you're just saying that you're not going to lead with that until you feel comfortable or somebody gives you an in, right? Is that sort of what I hear you
Yes,
saying? Yeah.
exactly. Exactly.
Um, so I think that you're spot on with that. I I probably do the same a little bit. I'm not gonna just, "Hi, I'm Philip Burton. This is what I believe." It's I give the conversation a minute, like, verbal vomit on you. Um,
Hey, I'm Philip
yeah.
Burton. Vote
You blow my
Trump.
feelings and tough and do you agree? But that was the guy I was when I first got into sales,
No
right?
way.
Oh, yeah,
No way.
I was terrible because I came from a place of not believing I belonged, right? Imposter syndrome sort of stuff, and so it was just I would just verbal vomit, and I think now, you get into a flow of a conversation, and then you can feel comfortable sharing. I think too, reading the room, as you said, it's if you're talking to someone and they're keeping it total high level business. There's not an opportunity for the personal. It's hard to interject that in there. But for the most part, if you share something, I've found a little bit about yourself, if you kind of set that tone, they'll lean into it, and then you have an opportunity to have a real conversation. Um, most
Okay.
most companies, right? Most people are afraid to share that because you will be judged. And judgment is not a negative thing. It's a way for people to evaluate if they align with what you think.
Yeah.
But then writing someone off because of their feelings is where I differ. I don't care what you believe, don't believe. If I think you're a good person and you show up authentically with me, I'll support the hell out of you. We
Yeah.
can totally disagree on everything from top to bottom, doesn't matter. If you're a good human and you show up and you treat people well and you're authentic and you're putting your best foot forward, I got your back.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think authenticity is the underlying asset behind every deal that gets done, to be honest with you.
You can't fake it. That's
You
the best
can't.
part.
You can't. You can fake faking it, but you can't fake authenticity.
100%. Now, do you feel like you're as you start to delve more into this SFR world and more of these relationships, like with me and other folks, because I see you make really strong connections and partnerships, and I see you there at the different events, and people really gravitate towards you. Do you think that's something where you're going to feel more comfortable putting yourself out, or are you still going to kind of evaluate each individual situation and see how much you're going to give up?
This industry is not a get in their face industry, right?
Right.
You get in someone's faces in this industry, you're going to be known as the annoying guy. You're going to be known as the guy who just wants business. You're going to be known as a savage shark.
And we know who they
And the
are.
thing is, this business is it's a marathon, bro. It's not a sprint. A sprint is selling door to door pest control,
Yeah.
right? This is not selling door to door pest control. So to answer your question, being at those events, I'm in my comfort zone as it is, right? And the longevity of our presence in this industry builds subconscious rapport without us trying. The more they see you with your beard and your hat end to end at every event, the more confidence they have in Preferred Florental because Preferred Florental has great retention strategies towards their employees, towards the market, towards people,
Sure.
right? So to answer your question, I'm already in it. I'm already in it. I'm already talking to people. I'm already going. But the thing is, I don't go waving my. As a matter of fact, I don't believe in business cards, Phil. I don't carry business cards. I've had people ask me for a business card, and my response to them is, I don't want to become another piece of paper on your desk.
Right.
So I don't believe in business cards. I don't carry them. Well, I don't need them. Um, and I get to know people for who they are. That's why you and I have a great relationship. That's why you and Liz got an invite to our baby shower, which you have not responded to, by the way.
Oh, was it
Y-
oh, you know what? I couldn't open it. I got an email. Was that I have to look at that. I clicked on it and it wouldn't open if it was yours because I got something. I'm like, oh, this is really nice. And then it wouldn't open. So we'll talk about that offline. That's
Really?
probably why I haven't
Okay.
responded, but I will.
But the
And
thing
thank
is,
you for that.
you bet. The thing is, there's a reason why someone like you is in my inner circle, and that's because we both genuinely care about this relationship, and that's what I believe that you and I do to the marketplace. It just so happens that a transaction happens to take place.
For sure.
You know what I mean? And I think that's why we are successful and have been in the business of sales or the sector of sales for quite some time because we genuinely have an interest in people. If we didn't have
And we're
that
not
interest in
transactional.
people,
Yeah.
then, you know, we should be stockbrokers, not transactional. Go
Or
keep the money in the market and just keep trading that money. So,
And to your point there, because that's both of our worlds, I think we talked about that last time. If not, we can unpack it here. Um, it, that world and where we came from was so much about whatever you're getting now, because you could be selling out of their accounts, or advising them to sell, but you're buying in yours, and just the dichotomy of what was right for them wasn't right for you, sort of thing. And what we do now, because we see these people every day, or meetings, Zooms, whatever, phone calls, it's a very personal reaction or interaction that we have. These aren't just folks that are, in my case, buying flooring and they're just some nameless person. It's, somebody who I've really come to like and consider a friend. And if I don't perform for them, it's letting a friend down. And I think for you and I, how we show up at these different events, we put that energy out in the universe. I'm a big vibe universe guy, right? Like, I do the hot yoga, I go in there, I say my namaste and get all the vibes that I can from that. And there's a collective energy that's shared in that yoga room, and you can feel it. And I feel that same thing when I'm around people like you. And one of the things that, I want to say honestly is I'm very lucky to be in the position I am, because even though I have to perform, I have to do a job. There's, we would like to grow our business. We got to generate revenue. We have to make money because we're not a charity. I'm given the opportunity to let me be me. Yvonne understands what they brought on, because I'm going to go be that person that you just said, that people are going to see me at these events, hopefully, and my energy and my attitude comes off as, hey, that's somebody I want to be around. And so let's go find out what that guy does. Because if they don't know that I'm in flooring, they're going to figure it out. And they're like, oh, he's a flooring guy. Oh, he's cool. I want to figure out what his story is. Um,
no.
and I can't remember if we talked about this last time, the 80-20, 70-30 rule of not everybody's going to dig this vibe, you know?
Oh, we definitely spoke about that.
Yeah. And I'm okay with that. I used to not be okay with that. I tried to be 100%. Everybody's going to love me and I'm going to be everything to everybody. And it's just not possible. And I think it diluted my ability to be me, because I was so worried about what might happen. And, to your point earlier, I'm just me, and I don't ever want to offend anyone. If I do accidentally, I'll be the first to put my hand out and apologize, say I'm sorry. It was never intentional. And if me being me is something that doesn't work for you, let me know, and I'll just back off. I'll give you some space. It's so simple. Communication is what everything comes down to, right? And in these relationships, it's just being honest. And I've also had to really work on the fact that I have a thick skin. So you can't really hurt me too much with comments and fun and jabs, or, if we don't agree on something. I have to remember not everybody has that same thick skin. So that's reading the room kind of thing. I really watch body language. And if I'm throwing some darts or I'm having fun and I'm letting it fly, like some of the stuff you and I said earlier on our phone call that we wouldn't say on this podcast just because it's a little too dark, or a little too on the edge. I'll throw those little things out in the conversations I'm having, and I'll pick up if somebody's like, yeah, that's funny, let's keep it going, or, whoa, did you just say that? And back it off. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's important to read the room and pay attention to people and pick up those vibes, right?
I couldn't agree with you more, bro. Yeah, that's definitely important. And for that one reason that you just mentioned is the reason why I'm not so opinionated from the beginning. There's no need for me to throw an unnecessary piece into the puzzle when we don't even know what we're putting together yet. So
Right.
what I like to do is I'd like to just sort of get to know someone and just connect with them and see where they stand. Are they reserved? Are they aggressive? Are they passive? Do they initiate much? Are they vocal? Are they reserved? So then I'm sitting there, and we're assessing as we're going, right? So the truth of the matter of fact is, within 3 to 5 minutes, rapport building is not the easiest thing unless you guys are both wearing the same shoes. Outside of that, it's like, okay, we have to talk business to get along on something and to satisfy the conversation. After that, by default, we're going to connect on something. And usually the
Totally.
person selling something is the person looking for what to connect on. Yes or
Sure.
no?
Yeah, for sure. And I think asking questions that are important to the other person, right? If we're talking work, I don't want to come in and, what markets are you in? How many, MSAs do you have? Blah blah blah. That's so awful. It's, hey, tell me about your family. What did you play?
What's the point? Sorry,
Yeah,
too close.
like,
I'm going to interrupt you in a nice way. What's the benefit of asking someone about their family, number one. Number two, at which point in a relationship would you do that? Because it's a pretty personal question.
Boy, I come with that pretty strong out the gate because I wanna know who you are. Like, that's what's interesting to me.
Is it do you not think that some people would view that as invasive?
Maybe. Again, this is understanding people's feelings. I've not really my experience has never been that I've asked someone, "Hey, tell me about your family." They're like, "How dare you ask that? It's
Ugh,
our first date,"
oh,
kind of
sick.
thing. We're usually in an environment that it's cordial enough. But I think it's funny. I'll have to think on that as we talk a little bit because I'm sure I've got a story where I have put my foot in it before. But I think most everyone is it's refreshing for them to not talk about the usual list of questions that people go down and to talk about what's important to them. Because for me and you and everyone else listening, our work isn't our main driver. Hopefully. And if it is yours out there, I love you. I'm sorry. Find something else because there's so much more to life than just work. And that's your family. It's the people around you. It's your hobbies. And those are the things people light up about when you ask them. I get a lot with the hat, of course, and to horses. People who love horses, they're always asking me, "Oh, how many horses do you have? You have this?" And it's fun to get in that conversation because now I know if they're asking, they're into it, and I can expand on that, and you know, opens the door to a lot.
Talking about hats, by the way, on a sidetrack, I want to get a hat like yours. And the reason why is because my hat, I like the color. The color suits the outfits that I wear. But my hat is very straight cut. See, it's like a straight cut
Yes,
where yours is more round.
just style. Is yours a Stetson brand, or is it a different brand?
Mine's the hat company.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's not specific to Stetson, by the way, but this just I happen to buy all Stetsons, just something I
Okay.
got stuck on. I love Stetson as a brand. There's great brands.
Yeah.
But that is a style thing because well, I don't want to step off camera to grab it, but my straw hat that I wear a lot, which you're not supposed to wear this time of year, you're supposed to wear your felt. So I don't have it on for the podcast or very often now, is more square and then up. So it's style. That looks really good on you though. That's one thing that I think with hats specifically, it's got to feel good on you though, right? You've got to feel comfortable in it. And if you don't like it, when you come here to Phoenix for the next show, I'm going to take you to a place called Heritage Hats. That's where I get all my hats. And the
Okay.
owner of that place, Richard, salt of the earth. The place was opened in '54. He bought it from the original owner like 25 years ago,
I love
and
that.
he's the best. You go in there, he's got a million hats. He'll fit the right one to you, do everything he needs to do. It's fantastic.
That's awesome. Shout out to Richard from Heritage Hats.
I know,
Heritage
right?
Hats in Arizona, Phoenix, right?
That's right. Cave Creek
That's
and
awesome.
Carefree Road.
There you go. No, that's interesting, man. Yeah, I just think back to getting to know about people, getting to know them directly. There's got to be an element of something that you get along on before you go into you take a deep dive. I believe that some people may take it as it's a bit too invasive. Like imagine within the first 3 minutes. I mean, I feel like someone like you, I can walk up to you and say, "Hey, man, what's going on, dude? What do you do over here?" And you're like, "Oh, I'm in flooring. What do you do?" "Oh, I'm in utilities." And then actually, no, you know what? Let's unpack when we met.
I
Let's
know
do that.
it's so funny. You were just saying. I'm trying to think. I don't know if my years are catching up to me on that because I can't remember. I know about when we first connected, but I don't remember the first.
I'll tell you when. You ready?
Okay. Yeah.
Atlanta, you were outside. I walked up to you and I spoke to you about your watch.
Oh, that's right.
That moment was the moment where we realized, where have you been my whole life? Yes
That
or no?
is right. And did you ask me about wearing a hat then too?
No.
Because
I've
I
never
think,
asked you about your hat.
okay, because this is really funny. I thought it was you. I'm so glad we're having this conversation. Because somebody came up to me and was like, "Hey, I want to wear my hat because I love my cowboy hat, and I see you wearing yours all the time. It makes me want to wear it, but the cowboy hat's your thing here." And I kind of laughed and I said, "Buddy, cowboy hats are everybody's thing. Please wear more hats. Like I want you to start wearing your hat."
No way.
And yeah, and it's happened to me several times, like at my gym that I go to, or I do my hot yoga. It's a big club, tennis club. It's not just a gym.
Yeah.
Um, I'm always wearing my straw hat when I'm walking in there, and I have a guy now. I'll send the picture so we can post it in the link. Um, he came to the village the other day with his hat on, and he looked at me
Nice.
and he's like, "Buddy," I said, "Man, I'm so happy," because I talked to him about it. He's like, "I just feel weird. You're the hat guy here," and I go, "No, no, no. This is for all of us." So. Okay,
technically, whoever it was in the industry that spoke to you about it, they are right because you are the hat guy in our
I know. Known
industry,
as
and
Cowboy Phil, right?
bro, you know what? I want to take this moment publicly to apologize for not asking for permission. I
Yeah,
just came
I'm
in.
gonna have to send you a violation. Yeah,
I just came
I'll
in,
be at your
bro.
door in 10 minutes to remove your hat. No, I'm just kidding. I love it though, but like, look how comfortable and I don't want to say that I I consciously do things like, start wearing my hat a lot for that reason, but it is an icebreaker. It just
Mm.
there's an openness to it, and I think specifically the cowboy hat, again tying into this conversation, um, it it puts people at ease because I feel like the connotation of cowboy hat, cowboy America, you know, pretty cool, salt of the earth. People are just more comfortable around you. It's less of a
It shows
barrier.
that you're wearing your personality by wearing it.
Yeah, I think so, and
The less
and it's a
you have
welcoming
on,
vibe. It's a
yes,
welcoming vibe
okay, but why is it a welcoming vibe? Because you're expressing an element of your
for
personality,
sure.
right?
Yeah,
Okay, so basically, there's a tip for everyone. Oh, my microphone just dropped. There's a tip for everyone who's listening right now. So, if you want to be more approachable, wear your personality. Wear
100%.
something that's a bit out
Be
there so that
yourself.
people feel comfortable approaching you. Because if you've got someone who's in a suit and a tie, they don't have the facial features could be potentially weak. That person is not as inviting as someone like me and Phil, who is a bit more loud in our personality. We're wearing something that is odd. This shows that our personalities are different,
Or just
right,
being
Phil?
ourselves, man, right? Like, look, we're gonna have another disagreement on my end to you. If you are the suit and tie guy, own it. Because I think that there's folks that are very comfortable. Just be yourself is and this is stuff that you already know. If you're listening out there, these are things you know, but just lean into it, right? Like, I when I was having to work with salespeople and I was hiring salespeople and bringing them in, and I'm successful at what I do. I get attention. I'm able to talk about what we do. I can get in the room, whatever. Um, People always say, well, like, I want to do what you do. I don't say I want to be you. I'm not trying to,
I
ego
want to be
this,
you,
but
Phil.
yeah, wow,
I
God, I
feel
want to
it.
be just like you. No, but they would say, how do you do it? I want to do what you do. And I'd say, no, no, no. You do you. Like, whatever your thing is, lean into it, because the jazz hands and peacock, which is what I am with the big cowboy hat and big personality and loud sometimes, works for me because it's me. I'm not faking it. If you go try to be me, you're going to fail and you're not going to be happy because it won't feel good. Be you. If you're the suit and tie guy, own it. If you're a little more quiet, you don't have to be the loud guy in the room, but pony up with a loud guy or girl, right? Be
Have
around
you
that.
okay, one sec. I got a strategy right now on how to pony up. Now, I didn't say that I didn't say if you're the suit and tie guy, you're shit. I never said that,
Yeah,
right?
okay, good.
All right. I respect the fact that you own it, but
Yeah.
give me a strategy right now on how you can pony up.
Walk up to you or I at the next show and say, "Hey, what are you guys doing tonight? Where's the fun?"
Okay,
You
that's
know?
confidence. That's approaching someone. But you and I, okay, at Georgia 2 nights ago, I got approached by maybe three or four people who came up to me personally. Hey, I've seen you online. I've seen this. I've seen this. I've seen this. I've seen your hat. Right. So I built that brand just like you. You built that
Yeah.
brand, right? So if you're a suit and tie guy, how do you differentiate yourself just in image so that people can know you as a
Ooh.
brand and find you as welcoming? I've got two
That
strategies.
Yeah, that's that okay, that's a great question, and it's tough because, if you're in the sea of blue suits, you're just one of the blue suits, right? I was just in Vegas for NMHC, which is, more apartment driven, but there's some SFR folks and some reasons to be there. And I call it, the finance bro uniform. It's blue shirt, vest, khaki pants, or blue blazer, khaki pants, blue suit, and the entire lobby. I call it 500 people. They all look the same. And then I came bopping in. I sent you that picture, I think, with the glasses and the mullet and the
Love it.
tracksuit.
Love
Yeah,
it.
that's how
Love
I
it.
showed up. That's how I showed up to that event, and everybody wanted to talk to me.
100%. Because you're different.
And because I stood out, and not everyone can do that. Not everyone can be the tracksuit guy or or whatever. But find a reason, a way to kind of differentiate yourself. I think it's important because people are going to seek that out. If you're in biz dev, right? Like if you're not, I always think about this because been my whole world, my whole life. I wonder what it'd be like not to be in biz dev where you could just be a wallflower. And
It's
I don't think my personality lends itself
no,
to
the
that, but
thought of it is pissing me off. Like it's
oh
just
God, it
no,
sounds
no.
awful.
It's
But
just it sounds mundane already. I don't like it.
yeah,
Um, I think the way to differentiate yourself if you're a suit and tie guy is through number one, colors. The louder the color of your suit, the more you're going to be remembered. Um,
tie, blue, instead of the
colors
blue
of
shirt, get a
ties,
colored shirt.
cha-
Yeah.
change your ties. So your point of difference is going to be your belt buckle, your tie, and your suit color. And
Yeah.
also, if you could play with a specific lapel pin on your specific suit, that will keep you remembered. And I think vest
Oh.
is a big one as well. Also, sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah.
A tie pin is different, and a old school analog clock that you hang onto your button. I had that on my wedding day.
Well, yeah, that's a specific style, and you're right. Like the more you have,
But it's memorable.
it
It's
is,
memorable.
but it takes effort, right? I think that's sort of the underlying
Invest. Don't be
theme.
lazy.
Yeah, like invest in your look or yourself if it's important to you. Some people are like, yeah, it doesn't matter. But yeah, I think that's where the fun comes in because you're letting who you are show. I have a specific opinion on the lapel pin. It should be an American flag, and I have one on every
Correct.
suit that I wear.
Yes, you do.
Um,
I've seen it.
yeah, and I
You've got an
and for
Israeli and an
anyone
American one.
listening, if you see me and you don't have one, I always have some in my pocket to hand out to anyone that wants one. So come up and ask me. I'll happily hand you one. I buy them in bulk and I carry them with me at every show. Every time I have my suit on, I've got some in my pocket, and I'd happy to share that.
I
Um,
actually am so disappointed in you right now that you haven't given me one.
I feel like I did. I
You
feel like
are
I did at our
full of it.
happy
You're
hour
full of it, bro.
in
Bro,
Dallas, but
no, bro. You're
yeah.
lying directly to my face right now because you haven't given me one because I
All
would
right.
wear it with pride.
I will send you one today from my collection that's sitting right there. No, it's fun because and I love this country. I love our flag, and it's an easy one for everyone to get behind, right? But okay, I'm going to tell you a funny story about this. I always well, yeah, I always have my flag on my lapel pin or my lapel, and there's a brand called Tailor Bird, which is a lot of the suit jackets I wear, which to your point are a little more flamboyant, color dots, whatever, they stand out. They're not expensive. They're inexpensive suits, and they always come with a little pin that's kind of fun. One of my favorite ones is this blue suit with polka dots. It has a purple flamingo on the lapel. It's a pin that comes with it.
Yeah.
So I go to this show. This was 5 years ago. It was NAA, and I'm meeting with. I think I can say this on this podcast. It was some high level Graystar people, right? And a good friend of mine, Jessica Resnick, who I love. She runs procurement for Graystar, the largest multifamily management company in the world. And she's introducing me to some pretty big hitters on her side. And I walk up and I have the lapel pin and I'm talking to everyone. And this one guy kind of says, "Hey, what's the story with your pin?" I said, "Oh, American flag." No, the other one. I said, "Oh, that tells you I'm a swinger." And then I just start talking to the rest of the group. And I didn't even know who the guy was, but I come to find out he's, big dog. And I just said, "Oh, I'm a swinger." It tells you I'm a swinger. And then I just keep talking to the group. And Jessica's like looking at me like, "Oh gosh, here we go." And we get pulled off to go do something, and I forget to circle back to my buddy that I just told him I'm a swinger, which I'm not for the group out there.
Yeah.
Um, and so weeks later, she's like, and I won't say the guy's name, but so and so keeps reaching out saying, is that guy really a swinger? Like, is he just comfortable telling us that?" Like, and she started laughing. She goes, "No, that was Phillip. He just didn't get to circle back to you." But yeah, so the lapel pins, if you really want to have fun with it, you can make them something that they're not. But yeah,
Mm.
it's little things like that circling back to our conversation of they're conversation pieces. Now I'm super comfortable with quick wit and not always funny, but it's quick. It's maybe it doesn't always work, but it's going to come out of my mouth, and that connects and resonates with people, I think, and it at least gives me a reason to apologize and continue a conversation, or connect and continue a conversation. So yeah.
That's awesome, dude. But do you see what I mean? Like, Phil, you're the master of being different in regards to appearance. Honestly, Swear to God on my life. You get the award in the industry right now for mastering the art of being different in appearance. And I say that because you're the one with the loud jackets, you're the one with the loud shoes, you're the one with the odd outfits, you're the one who I guarantee you, just your outfits alone, people remember you, not
Sure.
maybe not what you do, but they remember you. Oh, that guy, yeah, I saw him around. Or that guy.
Yeah, I wanna figure out
You,
who he is.
you know
That's
what I
it.
mean?
It creates curiosity.
Exactly.
It because we
Which
don't
becomes the
advertise.
brand
Yeah, it's
for
my
Phil
advertising.
Burton on behalf
Yeah,
of Preferred.
100%.
I
And I'm
respect that.
fortunate, like, I'm gonna do a shout out to Preferred, and for everyone listening, as you lean into this podcast with us, this isn't an SFR podcast. This isn't a Preferred. This isn't a utility valet, necessarily. It's, um, us just being us and excited to talk about the things we do, but I will give a shout out to Yvonne and Preferred because they let me be me. That's my job, and I love it, and those people are really cool, and they've never said to me, "Well, hey, maybe we shouldn't wear the loud jacket," or whatever, which they wouldn't do. But some folks, in my career, I've had people, have that awkward conversation of, "Oh, well, maybe we tone it down or this." I'm like, unless you're telling me I have to, and then that becomes a different conversation. I'm gonna continue doing what I do and be me as long as you recognize that I'm not offending anyone intentionally. If I do, we'll fix it.
Mm.
Because it's that fear, woke agenda or whatever commentary of, everybody's feelings are easily offended. I just, if I offend you, I will apologize and we'll talk through it. If you come to me, I'm the most open book you can ever imagine because I truly love and connect with people. But
Mm.
yeah, it's fun. Yeah, the
No,
the
no,
the, j-
no.
the jazz hands and peacock, baby.
100%. No, I respect that. I respect that completely.
Now, so I want to say too, like this is interesting for me because your aura, your energy, your intellect tells me that you are the same as me in that way, but you're not quite as, I don't want to say flamboyant because that's a different connotation, but you really aren't. You're a little more reserved in the social situation, I see, but you get just as much attention. Do you think it's just that you have that open energy that people are picking up on? Because you don't have to be as bright and colorful as I am to attract those same people.
Yes, I am a lot more reserved than you are, 100%. And that is just my personal preference. I have the ability to be as loud as you are, but it's not innate, it's an act.
So you force yourself into that role to like kind of be a
Like,
little
for
bit
example, if
little
you
bit
said to me,
bigger.
"Hey, Pat, I need you to come to this conference, and I need you to be the loudest person in the room with the most funkiest outfit," um, I can play that, no problem,
Sure.
and I'll wear it. I'll wear it with
But it's
confidence.
it's cosplay, it's a costume.
The whole thing's an act from start to
Yeah,
finish. Cameras will come, lights, camera, action. I'm there. I'll fill the role, and I'll be the greatest at the role. But it's not what I want to do.
sure.
What I want to do, I'm more of the reserved guy. I like drinking whiskey and having a cigar with a bit of jazz music in the background, opposed to a nightclub. That's what I
Nice.
naturally
Okay.
like. You know, I that's just who I am. When I was in my 20s and maybe mid 20s, I was a lot more the louder guy. I still can be the loud guy, but I would just rather. I tend to sit on the sidelines and observe a lot more. I used to be a lion, and now I'm more of an eagle. We on the same
Interesting.
page?
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. And I think I've got too many scars from volunteering my perspective too many times and being the loud guy and getting shot at on the front line. So now I let the other people who are willing to risk their reputations and personalities, I let them go and get beat while I observe how they lose so
That's
that I
so
can make sure that I don't
interesting.
do that. Does that make
Very
sense?
interesting. Yeah, totally. I get it. I wonder too, like industry, how it matters. The world I come from, more blue collar construction. Even though we're dealing with the same C class folks or C suite folks, I wonder if it's just a difference of coming up through different industries, and that there can be more of an impact or a pain or a price you pay for letting yourself out more. But yeah, that's kind of fun. We might want to unpack that with the people listening if we get some folks that want to reach out and maybe make a comment or be a little bit honest with us about that. Like, what kind of experiences have you had being your true self and expecting a different result and getting some kind of negative feedback or some kind of punishment or whatever it might be.
Every industry has their own social standards, right? We've attended moving conferences and the guys in the moving industry, like they're movers. They all got tattoos.
Like beacons, like actual like movers moving furniture across the country.
Yeah, they're
Okay.
all big boys. They got muscles. They all got tattoos, bro. I go to that conference and they're like, "Hey, what the f's going on, man? You doing
Yeah.
good? This and that." And they're all slapping my chest, and I come back 10 times harder than them, and I shock them. I'm like, "What the heck's going on, G?" You know, I smack
Yeah.
their chest, and one of them came out to me. He's like, "Hey, I'll give you a push-up competition." I dropped to the floor and I beat him, right? But it's not about that. Like, I'll adapt to whatever
Yeah.
scenario you put me in. It's not a problem. But our industry, it's a lot more reserved. It's a
For
white collar
sure.
world. It is what it is.
It is.
I
Yeah.
can adapt.
100%. Well,
You
it's
know what I
yeah.
mean?
There's nothing wrong with that. That's
No,
yeah.
there is
Those are the
nothing wrong with that. There is
I
nothing. Every industry has a different culture.
I think too the folks that I'm thinking about this. This is fun to run through because it makes me evaluate who I am in a good way. Um, I notice the folks that do gravitate to me the most a lot of times are the quietest because I represent a way for them to express the things they're not comfortable expressing. I can
How?
be I can be the loud front man, doing the things that they want to be doing, but they're in the mix. They're a part of the party, so to speak. It doesn't have to be party, but the energy, right? I'm the one stirring the pots, with the big spoon, and they're in the mix and they're in the batter, and they get to enjoy and feel it all. And I love that. I take a lot of pride in that because I have a big tent and I like everyone to be under it. Anyone that wants to enjoy life and have some fun and be a part of this is welcome as long as you're good to people and you're kind.
$1,000,000,000%.
That's it. The
one
bottom
billion
line
percent.
is if you're a kind human being, you've got a seat under this tent. And this industry has been so great to me because it's opened up so many new doors. And again, what we talked about earlier is I get to feel and hear what other people think. And, you and I, again, we're talking earlier about what we're going to do in Orlando, right, for the leadership conference and putting together a happy hour. And it's about who you are, not what you are. That's been my underlying theme for a long time. And it's taken work because the natural style, the easy thing to do is, who do you work for? What do you do? And even when I travel, I'm on a plane, I'm sitting next to someone. The first thing I don't ask, the last thing I ask them is, what do you do for a living? Like, I don't really care. Who are you? If you're looking at pictures of your kids, oh, tell me about your kids, whatever the thing might be, because the work part of us is usually so ancillary to who we are as people.
I'm gonna go into a topic. It's not random, it's affiliated with what you're talking about, but I just wanna make sure that this podcast is constantly delivering value to the listeners. So, the
Right on.
topic I'm gonna dive into right now is what I've got my perspective, but I'm gonna ask you first. What is something that you can find on someone else that will allow you to enable a fast rapport build?
Clarify that. I don't understand what you're asking. Like, is how they interact. Like, what's a tell? What lets me know that I can get more
When
information?
you're talking to someone, what's something that they have that visually on their body or on their outfit or something on them that you
Ooh.
can engage and create a conversation from?
You
Like, for
know,
example,
yeah,
for example, I used your watch.
yeah, for
I then
sure.
found out about your daughter. I then found out that you lost your
Yeah,
Rolex and blah, 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 blah.
that's
Okay.
right.
You see how I opened up that? Okay. Now, did I open up that or did your watch open up that?
Ooh, chicken and the egg. This is
Right?
deep. You did, in my opinion, because the watch is superfluous, right? You took the effort to walk up. You just picked a thing. You could have said shoes, boots, hat, coat. Why are you
You do
standing?
give people
Yeah,
a lot of options though.
yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. For me, boy, that's really interesting. I don't know if I've ever thought about it to that point where I'm sure I have because I'm a pretty situational awareness type of guy. So I'm always looking at the room. I'm always looking what's going on. If I am trying to get to know someone, or let's say that, and I hate the word target, but we use those terms sometimes, like I really need to meet so and so at this event because that's who I've been trying to, get in front of. Oh, they're over there. I will look around them, what's going on, and find a way to be there other than just, generally walking straight up. Now that works too. I will do that if I have to, but I read their body language. If they're inundated by people coming up to them, especially these speakers that come off stage, right? We've all been a part of that. And it's, I'll use Dave Singlin as an example now that he's out of the business. He's retired as CEO of AMH. That guy comes off stage, 15 people are on him because that's their only chance to ever get around that guy. You're not going to build anything meaningful. Now, he's very gracious or was gracious and would talk to you and, trade niceties and not, but that's not where it's going to happen. So I'd usually look for an in that was somebody they're talking to that I know, that I can walk up and say, hey, Patrick, good to see you, man. Great job up there. Hey, Dave, Phillip Burton, great to meet you. Been trying to connect with you. I don't know if there's time here. Is now, whatever. I just feel it out. And so it might not even be on their body or their person. It's the people around them. Are they open? Are they closed? Shoulders. Like it's very much reading the language of how they're standing and being if they're open to it.
Okay. Let me ask my question differently.
Yeah.
Maybe I asked the question wrong.
Yeah, I'm sure. If I didn't answer it right, it's your fault.
Let's say that's your prospecting strategy. Perfect. Let's say your prospecting strategy works and you have an initial meeting. Okay. You've got this person, you're at the bar, you've engaged in conversation for north of 5 minutes, you've got their full attention, they've got your full attention. What could you use to build rapport? Is there specific questions that you ask? What is it about someone that there's something that I use every time.
Yeah, no, I love it. I want to hear what you have. I don't have an icebreaker because I really feel it out for the moment. It's so personal. It's to the person or the moment or the thing we're doing, that I will, and I don't think about it a lot. Like I'm the kind of person that does so much better when I'm not prepared, because when I prepare, it becomes canned for me. And that's not a bad thing. It just, for me, it doesn't work. I am much better when I just walk into a room and I can naturally evolve or flow with the situation and end up with something. So if I'm standing at the bar with that person after our initial meeting, I will take whatever that conversation's flow is and work into what I'm trying to get done, while being authentic and actually learning about this human that's taking time out of their life to spend time with me. I don't take that lightly. That's a big deal. Like,
That's huge.
the only thing we have, brother, is our time. And I choose to give that time to the people I care about. You, in this case, you with me here in this podcast, the people that are listening, if they end up spending the time to listen to us, that's really important. And so I take that very personally.
I respect that.
I
Phil,
want to
I'm
hear
not,
yours. This is exciting.
I'm not saying, Phil, that I go into meeting people like in a very structured manner and I plan it.
No, yeah, I don't think.
That's
Yeah, I didn't
the
pick.
other night
That's
I
not
was
what I
at
took
I was
from
at
that.
the
Yeah.
other night I was at the Georgia Mixer, and then I had one guy from another company come up to me and said, "So Pat, who do you want to meet tonight?" I said, "I'll meet whoever comes my way. I don't really have a target list." This is my exact
Yeah.
response. I said, "I don't have a target list." I said, "I'm here to, number one, represent my business, and number two, get to know some people and strengthen existing relationships." So there wasn't a hit list. I don't go with hit lists. I don't do that. I'm
Right.
not in that business. But
But
I'm
there's
gonna
nothing
share.
wrong with that. Like,
No, good
yeah,
luck to you.
people.
It
Yeah.
doesn't work for me. It doesn't work for me because there's enough opportunity around for you. If you know your market very well, you'll adapt to whatever your situation is. You should know who's in the room anyway. You should know every person in that room. You should have done your research so that when you do bump into that situation, when the opportunity presents itself, you can handle that situation
Yeah, you know
effectively.
the who's who of why you're there,
You've got to be ready. Yeah,
for
exactly.
sure.
So, no, but my answer towards my question is going to be someone's background on their phone. Now, let me tell you a bit more about that.
That's cool, as I go look at mine right now.
So,
Okay.
what's the background on your phone right now?
It's, Liz and Rue standing out in our backyard
Can you
about
show us
3
or
years
not?
ago. Yeah, will that show do I just point it at the camera? I'm not
Yeah,
super technical. Oh, yeah, there you go.
perfect. Cool. I love
Have
that.
fun.
Right? So your family is important to you, right?
Yeah.
So let me just get rid of, I'll share mine as well. So mine is me and my wife
Oh, I love
at
that.
Paramount Studios, and I sometimes jazz it up with another background. But anyway, let me tell you the importance of a background and when I realized that backgrounds are important. Backgrounds on someone's phone is what we consciously choose to see every day. We at one point in our lives went out of our way to select what we want to see on the background of our phone every day, which means that is freaking important. True?
Oh, absolutely.
Perfect. I was on my second date with Kiara. I was getting to know her. What made me fall in love with her was there was a few words written on her background on her phone.
Ooh.
So we were in a little cart, and this guy was driving us, and there was some words on her phone. And let me just try to think. So it was something along the lines of something about tenacity,
Yeah.
about being loyal, or about never giving up. And I said, and when I saw that, I said, there is so much more depth to this woman that she hasn't
Sure.
shared with me. But that was my in. I said, what is that? You want to know
That's
her
awesome.
response was? She said, that was a letter that my dad wrote to me before he killed himself.
No.
Yes. And I was
Wow.
like, what? And that opened this can, Phil.
Right?
I was like, excuse me, what? And she started telling me the story.
That's
So
amazing.
her dad, unfortunately, took his own life. And he had written a letter to each one of his kids before he took his own life. And
That is heavy stuff, brother.
I'm getting goosebumps talking about it. It's so uncomfortable knowing that I had the opportunity to marry his daughter, but I didn't have the opportunity to meet him.
And you connected to her through that. Like, that's the thing. That
That that moment is what realized how much showed me the iceberg underneath the tip.
Yeah.
So, and I know this is the first time you're hearing about this. I haven't
Oh,
spoken to you about this
100%.
before.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
So
It's so
that's what,
powerful too, like,
yeah, it's
scratching that I mean, this is what we've been talking about this whole, podcast is f n don't just don't come into things just the normal way, right? Like, you could have come up with some line, "How you doing? You wanna go get a drink?" Whatever the thing is that you do later, like, the niceties or the normal stuff, but getting to know who someone
you
is.
are your own destiny. That's what it said.
That's what it said? Oh my god.
You are your own destiny. That's what it said.
I love that.
And
I'm writing that down. I love it.
so, yeah, and then yeah, so that was a punch in the gut at in the middle of the date. I'm like, "Whoa." So anyway, so I took
But
a deep dive into
it's
that.
also that moment to connect with a person on such a real a real level. She didn't have to share with you what that was. She could have said, "Oh, if you weren't." Here's what I'm getting at. Sorry, that was kind of a weird way to get there. If she didn't pick up on a vibe from you that she wanted to let you in, she would have just said, "Oh, it's nothing. Don't worry about it." She'd have shut you down. She
That's
shared with you.
true.
You know,
That's
you
true.
we talked about this last time, maybe not. If this is the first time you're hearing it, you can tell me, but I believe that we're all like radios, right? We have a frequency, and if you're tuned into that frequency, if we're tuned into each other, you connect and you pick up on things that you wouldn't otherwise hear.
Yes.
And you showed up in a way that her subconscious or whatever you want to call it said, "I want to trust this guy, so I'm gonna give him this
I'm
in."
open to being vulnerable with him, and
That's
I'm gonna
it.
give him
I'm
the
gonna give him
actual
an
story.
in and see what happens.
That's
And
huge. Okay, so we just learned something.
yeah, that's a big deal. And I think on the flip side, right? Like if we're trying to educate people, not always is that timing going to be there for that connection, right? If we
Correct.
talk about you and her, she might have said, "Oh, it's something personal. I'll tell whatever," and then you would have had 2 or 3 dates, and then she tells you, right? Like it's very
Yes.
possible you would have got to the same connection if she wasn't feeling in the moment that connect that what you would need to for her to feel vulnerable and tell you that.
Yep.
And what we do all the time, right? We're always testing the waters. We're always putting it out there to see if now is the time to connect. Is now the time? And going back to my buddy that I met with today, 2 years of trying to connect, like little dots, little here and there. It just wasn't the right time to ask, and everything worked organically because I stayed in the fight, not pushing or being thirsty, right? That I have to get it now. You have to tell me now. I got to get this meeting.
No, patient.
And you dating, work, personal, it's just being aware of when is the time to push and when is the time to back off, and know that when you connect, when you feel that moment, that's your time to be open.
Mhm. Yeah, being vulnerable. And sometimes when you're trying to build a relationship, initiating the vulnerability makes the opposing counsel or opposing party a lot more comfortable with the conversation because
Totally.
you stepped out of your comfort zone first. So then it forces them to be comfortable. But just so I can wrap up what I was saying, using the content on the background of someone's phone is a quick in to be able to find out more about them in a very short period of time and then finding out what's important to them. Like I had a meeting this morning with a guy and we met at a cigar lounge. He's pretty influential in the SFR space. We just connected, we were chatting, and it was a business meeting, but we didn't talk business at
Mhm.
all, not
Mm,
once. I swear to God. And but the thing is, I
right,
didn't
that's
even
what we're
try,
talking about this whole time.
bro. At the end of the chat, I said, "Hey, man, I didn't expect to go this deep."
Yeah,
This is 2 hours. We went to the roots, and you know what's cool about it, Phil? We now know everything about each other. Absolutely everything, the ups, the downs. I told him
yeah,
things that I haven't even told you before. We went into the weeds, and then
it's
as
amazing.
we were leaving in the car park and we shook hands, we negotiated our deal. Can you believe it?
Now let me ask you a question. If you'd have left there, right, and no deal, right, and
Yep.
no real prospect of a deal in the near future, but you had that amazing connection, is that
Yep.
still a win for you as a business owner,
Huge,
right?
huge,
That's
huge,
what I want people to hear. You
huge.
don't you don't have to close the deal every time or anytime. The deal will close itself if you stay connected and transparent and authentic and vulnerable.
The relationship itself is a deal.
Yeah, thank you.
The relationship itself is a deal. You know why? Because your network is your net worth.
That's
So
right.
you've now got another person in your arsenal that you now can get advice off, reach out to, ask about their network. Bro, the list goes on. The relationship is the deal.
That's right.
Get the relationship, you'll get the deal.
100%.
But you put that person at the forefront of the relationship for the deal to be successful. And if they do vice versa, my friend, that's called love.
Yeah, that's right. And how many of these relationships for us, and I know you're the same, end up in real friendships? You know, people, I shared this today with this meeting, with this guy I was meeting with. There's folks that I met 20 years ago in the multifamily space that were, leasing consultants. I was knocking doors at properties trying to sell flooring to the individual properties, and some leasing consultant and I became friends, and they're now owners and presidents of large management companies, and they're my friends. They're the people I text and call on Christmas to say Merry Christmas to. And some of them, I was just with one of them. I've never sold a yard of carpet to 25 years, but he's become my very good friend. Now he's opened so many doors for me. I've just never asked for his business. Don't really want it, honestly, because there's other folks that do what I do that he's got relationships with. There's just no reason
He's
to
happy.
upset that. Yeah, but he's been so influential in my life and in my career, and it's because we just connected as people.
Yeah.
And you and I talking about this here today, that's the value, right? That's the juice out of this whole thing,
Mm-hmm. Mm.
and being okay.
I just remembered I've got one of my see, you know how you and we had a chat about who should we interview in the podcast? I just I've got this guy who I met in the industry. He's a dead set brother of mine. I love this guy. I met him maybe 2 years ago. And because we're so close outside of work, I've forgotten that he's a part of our industry.
Yeah, yeah.
And you know what I mean?
Lines are blurred. It's not it.
But the relationship is so good.
Absolutely.
Like, dude, I just remembered Joe. He's oh, I love him. My best man at my wedding, his name was Joe. He's from Australia, but I'm talking about Joe Summers. He's the CRO of Gateways. Just
Oh,
this guy
nice.
is just an absolute brother of mine. I'm definitely going to get him on the podcast. He's actually skiing right now. So
I'm so excited, man. When you and I kind of hatched this together, I think in Dallas, right? Were we talking about this after that happy hour
it was
somewhere in
at
there?
NRHC Connect. I ran up to
Connect.
you at the bar and I said, "Hey
Yeah.
Phil, we're starting a podcast."
Yeah. I'm like, done. There's nobody else I want to do it with other than you. You start thinking about these fun people that we know, and I think it's cool if I say this. I spoke to Amanda Blackman, who you know
Yep.
well.
Yep. Yep.
She's one of the strongest, smartest people we know in this business. A strong female leader, just a badass, right? I was talking to her prior to us filming today and telling her, hey, we're filming, one of our episodes for our podcast. It's just getting started. She kind of knew about it. And I said, I'd love to have you on. She goes,
How did
I
she
want to
find
be,
out about it? Sorry.
well, I was telling her about it.
Okay.
And she goes, I want to be your first guest. I'm like, really? Like, And she goes, "Oh my God, yes, please." She knows you, by the way.
Of
And
course she
she
does.
says,
Yeah.
"The two of you together, that energy, these are her words." She goes, "I want to be a part of that." So that might be our very first. If you and I want to do it, she's down, and I think she'd be like us. She'd be open and honest. I told her this is not a SFR podcast. This isn't, Amanda Blackman, VPO of XYZ. It's I want to know who you are. We want to get to know you. And she's like, "Yes, please." And
No
boy,
way.
yeah, I got to be careful. Oh, I want to say it. I'm going to say it anyways. If I offend you, if you're listening, you're offended, and I apologize. She's turned down a podcast recently because she's like, it's just the same old, same old. And she said no to that podcast, and she wants a part of this because it's different. So I hope that you folks that are watching are seeing that this is different and getting value. Because if not, Patrick and I can talk to each other, till we're blue in the face. We'll just do it, and no one will care. We really hope it brings value and getting to know people for who they are, right? Because
Yeah.
the moderated podcasts are great for information technology. There's so many wonderful information sharing. That's not what we're about.
Yeah. I mean, we can do the moderated stuff. As a
Yeah,
matter of
we
fact,
will.
sorry, off topic. I need you to moderate a podcast for me, actually.
I love it. I'm in.
Um,
Put me in,
m-
coach.
Me and Ethan from Latchel,
Oh, I love
we
Ethan.
yeah, we're going to do a resident experience podcast. It's just gonna be one episode, but I need you to ask us a few questions on resident experience. But I can send you an email on that one.
Done.
Cool. Thank you so much, bro. Appreciate that. And
Does
Ethan, just so you know, just so if you're watching this is actually the first time I've asked Phil, and so this is not pre-recorded.
Yeah,
This
this
is
is
the
great.
first
I
time.
just I
This
just
is
need to
how
know if I
easy
need my
Phil
shirt
and I
on
are.
or off. Like, what are the parameters here? This is I'm gonna
Yeah.
make it real fun.
I think Amanda would be absolutely amazing.
Yeah,
So let's definitely get her on. Let's see if we can get that squared away. Go ahead, bro. I know Amanda very well.
perfect.
Let's get her squared away for some point next week. I think Fridays work well. We usually pre-record our podcasts and we do them on Fridays. So if you can get her on for next
Next
Friday, I'm
Friday, let's
flying.
make it happen.
I'm flying next Friday, bro.
No,
1 second. Yeah.
we'll figure it out. We'll make it happen. That next
Yeah.
one, we'll make sure she's a part of it.
Yeah. Cool. No worries. We'll
And
organize
and
something.
if folks get to see this before,
Wednesday, Phil. Wednesday. Find time on Wednesday.
done.
And then let's make it happen. Okay.
I like it.
Guys, I appreciate everyone listening. Phil, is there anything that you want to squeeze into this podcast?
That's it. I want to thank you, my friend, for again putting this together and coming up with the idea. This is really fun to share who we are this way. At the end of the day, I hope that I'm bringing value and to anyone listening. And again, they know how to get a hold of us when these get released and people are watching them. If there's just one person out there who wants to reach out and pick my brain on sales, flooring, business, life, kids, I don't care. Call me. I love that connection. So we're open books here, in my opinion.
I love that. We definitely are open books, and I'll reinforce everything that Phil said. If there's something that you want to ask us directly, please reach out, whether it's LinkedIn, whether it's email, whatever it is. We are
Cell
putting
phone.
ourselves out there, which means that we are approachable. Come to us if we can help you, whether it's in the SFR industry, whether it's personal, whatever it is that we cover. If there's something that we spoke about today that you relate to and you want to pick our brains on, we are here. We are open books, and we're here to help if we can.
That's right. We're going to put you right between these two hats, baby.
That's it. That's it. Thank you so much for that, guys, for listening. God bless. Have an amazing life, and we'll chat to you next episode.